as black. So when I refresh this, we have our Arial 12 black. We're gonna need the width and the height of this container right here. So we're gonna do what we did before. I'm gonna find our layer right here. Okay, I'm gonna right click it, convert to smart object, right click it again, edit contents, click OK. I'm gonna have my content box right here. I'm gonna go to image, canvas size, change this to pixels, and I now have my width and my height. So it's 207 by 80. So I'm gonna have my content width 270 pix by height 80 pix. Refresh this. I see it's liking that one a lot. Let's go ahead and change the width. We're gonna have it the same width as the image because that's what it technically should be. Seems to be reading that a little wrong. So we're gonna have this 200 pix, and that will have it so the width of this box is just going straight to the edge of this. It's invisible, you can't see it right now, but it'll be there once we put our background color, which we're gonna do right now. Background. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. I'm gonna need the color of this, so I'm getting my dropper tool and I'm just getting the color, which we can see is E1, and I'm just adding this for my background color. And when I save this and I refresh here, we can see we now have my box. Now it needs to be having a little distance from the top, like you can see right here. I'm going to say that's about 5 pixels, so we're going to create a margin for this. We're going to do margin top, because we're pushing from the top, 5 pix. When I refresh, you can add a little more. I'm going to just go ahead and do 10. There you go. We'll just lower this 8. But now we're going to need our text away from the top and from the sides. And we're just going to go ahead and do probably 8 pix. And to do this, we're going to do padding. We're just going to have padding all over. This is going to do it at all sides. We're just going to do 8 pix. Ooh. Okay, what it's doing, it's trying to pad against this right here, which is, see, you can see it increase the length of the box. So we're going to need, I'm going to go ahead and change this to do padding top 8 pix and padding to the left 8 pix. Now this won't change much. It won't change anything most likely. Okay, I made this box a little smaller, but this is going to help me change my height. Since we're adding 8 padding to the top, we're going to need to lower this by 8. So we're going to have 192. And when I refresh this, you can see it fixed the padding because it didn't have enough room here. And I'm also going to need to take it from, it doesn't look like it's bothering it, but we're going to go ahead and take 8 away from this also. Get 72. Refresh. You see it was fixing, it fixed the height right there also. So we have our width and our height fixed now. And we have it how we want it in Photoshop. See, it's exactly the same as Photoshop. That looks a little bold. I'm not even liking that, to be honest. I don't know why it's looking bold, but I'm not liking that, so it's alright. Now we just need to get our border color, so we're going to come and zoom in down here. We're just going to grab our border color, which we can see is 959595. I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to come back and we're going to do border. So just like before, border. We're going to do 2 pix. Oops. Add our color in, and we're going to do solid line. Make sure everything's closed. We're going to refresh. And since this is 2 pix all over, it's basically going to be 2 pix here, 2 pix here, 2 here, 2 here. So that's basically 4 for the top and the bottom, and 4 for the side. So we're going to need to minus that again. So 72 minus 4 is 68, and 92 minus 4 is 188. And when we refresh, we have all of our sides perfect, and we have our borders like before, but this is actually 1 pixel, so I'm going to go ahead and add 2 to this. Add 2 to that. I hope this is making sense to you, what I'm doing with this height. And I'm just going to change my border to 1. That was a mistake right there. This needs to be 70. And that to 1. Alright, there we go. We have our completed content area now, looking exactly like we have it in Photoshop. Actually, I don't know how these got switched around. I'm guessing it would be something done with our float right. It just decided to whack all of our stuff out, so we're just gonna go with that. It's displaying how I want, so I'm not gonna complain. Maybe let me just go ahead and try floating this to the left just to see what happens. There we go, that fixes that right there. Last thing we need to do is our footer. So I'm just gonna copy my footer text that I have here, and I'm gonna go to design, and I'm gonna click on my footer right there, and then go back to code, and you see I have my footer image spacer just like before. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this, and I'm gonna add division ID, and we're gonna call this footer. And close this, and inside my footer tag I'm just gonna go ahead and put my nav links, and I'm gonna put, when you're creating a nav you can't just have it like this, it's not gonna accept the spacer, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete all of this like this, how it has this. I'm just gonna put it at a new line. And we're going to basically have to do exactly what we did like the pictures to make a list. We're going to have to do UL, and I know this is probably so fun for all of you. I know it's fun for me. We're going to have to do the A or F, and I'm just going to put the place marker link. Just to shorten my time, I'm going to go ahead and just paste all this. Just pressing Control C and then Control V to paste. Alright, so I need to close my UL now. Make sure you always close everything. See, my UL is now closed in there. So when you look at this, you can see we now have our nav right here. It technically shouldn't be like this, because what it's doing right now, since we have UL and LI, it's actually reading off this previous UL and LI that we made back at our title area. So to fix this, we're gonna classify these specifically. See, this is table UL, in which we know table and UL, we know these are going together. So what we're gonna tell it to do is to find table, and then it's gonna find UL. So table and UL, and then we're gonna do the same thing for LI. We're gonna do table LI, which is now basically, when I refresh this, you see this is at its default categories, and this didn't change, because this is now table UL right here. It's classifying that all as in table UL. So this is now just default LI and UL. So what we're going to do is now create stuff for our footer. So we have footer UL and footer LI. So we're going to create first footer UL, and we're going to do list style, and we're going to do none, just like before. And we know this is just going to remove our bullets. If I were to save this, it would remove my bullets. See, this is why you have to close your tags right there. There we go. Okay, now we need to get rid of our margin and padding from this. So margin 0, padding 0, which we see fixes that right there. And now we're going to need to do footer LI, and we're going to need to do display inline, and we're going to need, alright, we're going to close this like this. Alright, there we go, we have this. Now, next thing I'm going to want to do is change the font. So I'm going to add my footer tag, and this will just change all the font inside of this. And we're going to do font, we're going to do Arial, we're going to go ahead and do 12 pixels. Oops. Okay, I now have my font, which looks good. You should see our Photoshop version. Okay. Next I'm going to want to center this. So I'm going to do text align, and I'm just going to do center. When I look at this, now I have my text centered right here. And I'm going to need to create